section that we're going to be going to is we're going to be doing multiplication of decimals. Before we begin, I just want to make sure that you guys are all paying attention. We're going to be doing our champ up here, right? So our conversation level while the lesson's going on, guys, should be a voice level of
0.
Right. If you need help, what are we going to do? Our silent signal?
Academic help.
Right, 5 eye in the sky. Okay? You've got the worksheet. I expect you to participate and go along with us as we go. Your movement is restricted to your desk. And we're all going to succeed and make sure we get through this. Great, okay? Our central question is we are going to make sure that we can multiply 2-digit times 2-digit number with decimals and place the decimal in its correct positioning. Okay? So, our first example, our number 1, starts out with a number of 4.2 times 2.7. Now, when I look at that number, it's no different than if I was multiplying 42 times 27. The math is going to stay exactly the same. The only thing we have to worry about is positioning of our decimals. So, let's take a look at this. Who here, on a show of hands, thinks that they could multiply 42 times 27? Great. All of you. Super. We've already covered that. Let's do it together, class. 7 times 2?
14.
And 7 times 4?
28.
Plus 1 more?
29.
29. That's our first what? It's called our partial
Product.
Awesome. So, we're going to put in our placeholder, our happy spacer, and 2 times 2 is?
4.
And 2 times 4 is?
8.
And what do I do with these two partial products?
You add them.
Awesome. So, 4 plus 0?
4.
9 plus 4?
13.
Carry my 1. 2 plus 8 plus 1?
11.
Okay. If I did that with whole numbers, I end up with 1,134. So if we move over to the decimal example, as I said, it's going to be exactly the same math. Nothing's going to change. If I do 7 times 2 over here, it's still going to be 14. And 7 times 4 is still 28 plus 1 more is 29. So you can see my first partial product is exactly the same. When we're working with decimals, we're not going to put decimals in our partial products. They're going to still look like whole numbers. Our next one, then, we're going to put in our spacer, our happy spacer here. 2 times 2 is still going to be 4, even though I almost wrote 8. And 2 times 4 is going to be 8. I still add them together. I still end up with a 4, a 3, a 1, and a 1. Now I have to address my decimals, because we're not multiplying 42 and 27. We're doing 4.2 and 2.7. They're actually 1/10 of each one of the corresponding whole numbers. So the best and simplest way to do it is count the number of decimal places that are to the right of the whole number. And in this case, how many decimal places do I have to the right?
1.
1. And I'm going to put it in a bracket parenthesis here. And how many do I have on my second multiplicand?
1.
1. So I'm going to put that in the second. Now I'm going to add what's in the 2 brackets together. And 1 plus 1, kids?
2.
Good job. Gotta love that advanced math, right? So that 2 tells me exactly how many places I'm going to move my decimal in. So I'm going to come over here, because my decimal would be right here at the end of a whole number, right? 1,134, the decimal would be there. It's the same thing so far. Here's my decimal. Revelio. See him up here? Now I'm going to move them in how many spots?
2.
1, 2, and my answer ends up being 11 and 34/100ths. So when I look at the corresponding products, I notice that 11 and 34/100ths is actually 1/100th of the size of 1134. Which is great, because that's how many decimal places that we moved in. We moved in 1/10 and 1/10 to move in 100th. Pretty simple? Let's move on with our next example. Thank you very much for recording. I hope you enjoyed the video.